Hi guys, welcome back to the show and this week's movie review. Star Trek Beyond. Now, this film kind of had a little bit of hate. Once the original trailer came out, a lot of people weren't really digging the Beastie Boys kind of soundtrack to the trailer. They thought it wasn't a part of the whole Star Trek vibe, so a lot of people weren't really interested in seeing this film. I like the Beastie Boys. I like what they did in the original trailer, so when the film was released, I was totally ready to go see this film. So let's go ahead and jump into the review. The cast of this film is going to bring back everybody from the original film that I could think of. I missed maybe no red shirts that didn't make it out of the original two films. So we're going to get Chris Pine, we're going to get Carl Urban, and we're going to get Zachary Quinto, all back from the original first two films, but we're going to get new people in our cast. So we're going to get Sophia Botello, and if you're not familiar with Sophia Botello, she's from the Kingsman movie, and she's going to be playing the character Jayla in this film. We're also going to get Idris Elba as well too, which I was really psyched about when I first heard his casting, because I couldn't wait, and then they said he was going to play a villain, so I could really wait till I got to see him on screen, him being evil. That was okay, that's just me. So the plot of this film is like any other Star Trek film. Basically, the only difference is that we actually have Kirk well into his 5-year mission. And if you're a Star Trek fan, we all know the Enterprise goes out into deep space for about 5 years to explore new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one's gone before. Okay. But into his 5-year mission, he's kind of contemplating his life choices and if he should really continue. So he's kind of weighing that back and forth, and while on a rescue mission, they get attacked by aliens. Star Trek as any movie could be. As a matter of fact, just explaining that outside of his making the initial decision about if he wants to stay, that's basically a plot for the other 10 Star Trek films. Alright, so that's the plot of this film. Let's go ahead and talk about what I didn't like and what I did like, and the goods and the bads. So let's first start off with the goods. The goods of this film is that, one, it's more character driven. I would probably say that this is the most Star Trek film of any of the other in this trilogy. Over the first Star Trek from 2009, the second one that everybody hated. This one is Star Trek. They heard what you said and they slowed it down. It's not such a over-the-top action movie. This one deals with more of the characters themselves, and I like that. And if you're a Star Trek fan, you're probably really gonna dig that part of the movie. We got to kind of see more of what Chris Pine was. You know, it kind of gave an homage back to the original films. Chris Pine has really settled in his Captain Kirk, Will Shatner representation. Not that he did a clone of him or he was doing a just trying to copy him. It's just that you got more of a Kirk vibe from him overall, as well as from Spock and Bones. Before, I think Carl Urban was doing was copying Bones from the original TV show. This one, you got to see him really be that kind of questioning everything medical officer, and also being the comic relief on film as well. So I really dug that part about it. Now, jumping back a little bit, I said it wasn't as over-the-top action, but when it did action, it does some really cool things, especially with the aliens attacking the Enterprise. That's not really a spoiler, that's in the trailer. But when they attack, they do a different way of attacking the Enterprise, and I thought it was really cool. Other things that I liked about this film is the new character played by Sophia Botello, the Jayla character. I thought it was a welcome change. A lot of times they throw in a character where it's just something to kind of move the plot along. And it was like, oh, you're in trouble, we need to help you out. Now we're done with you, see you later. This character seemed integral to what they were trying to do on screen, and she was fun, and she was interesting, and it was different from any of the other crew members that they actually ever had in the other two films. Not overall in the whole Star Trek universe, but in the other two films, this was a breath of fresh air to the characters that we've already seen. So definitely liked her on screen. That's probably what's going to cover my really part of my enjoyment of this film. So let's go ahead and move on to what I didn't like in this film and the bads. Now, the bads of this film is that I think the villain kind of fell short. It's another case of evil because evil, but towards the end they try to explain it, but I thought the way they explained it kind of came off a little bit over the top for what he was upset about. In a sense to where like, oh, you know, this bad thing happened to me, so now I'm gonna destroy everything type deal. So I thought it was over the top and a little bit of weak in as far as kind of explaining how he got there. They try to, but it's really, really loose. And that's just how I felt about it. I went to go see it, or I talked to some other people who've seen it after I saw it, and they got a different vibe from it. For me, it was kind of like they were reaching as far as why he was so upset. Other things that I didn't like about this film is that they did some things in the plot just for the sake of moving things along. Sometimes things happened in this movie where like there was no possible way that this should have happened, and it did happen just to get this point to where we were in danger, or just to get us to a point to where, oh, this is how we save the day. And I understand it's a movie, I totally get it, and I know things happen in movies that don't happen in real life, but you got to make me believe, or you got to set it up in a way that like, oh, I can totally buy that. And I couldn't let those things go, and it really bothered me in the film that those things happen. I'm not gonna tell you what those things were. That's a spoiler review. We're not doing a spoiler review. All right, nitpicks would probably be some CG. There was some certain scenes where the CG was a little hokey, but I mean, it's a big budget film. Outside of those little few things that happened, all the rest of the CGI was really, really great with the film, so it's not that big of a deal. But those are, in a nutshell, what I didn't like about this film. Overall, how did I feel about the film? I really liked it. I liked the film, but in this trilogy, it is still my third best film. It's not better than the first two, and I know people hated the second one. You can put it in the comment below. But the first one is still the best one of this series. I actually like the second one, but the third one is a good film. I don't think it takes the place of the first two. That's how I feel. Should you see it? If you're a Star Trek fan, yes, go out and definitely see this film. I think you now have total representations of, I'm going to call them the trilogy, of Kirk, Spock, and Bones on screen. I think that worked well. Some of the other characters kind of got shorted a little bit as far as screen time and character development, but I mean, they were secondary characters anyway, so as long as those three are handled, you kind of let those go. But like I stated before, this is the most Star Trek-y of the Star Trek films in this trilogy. So I think that that's a good thing for true diehard Star Trek fans, that they will love this film going forward. If you have little kids, maybe want to pass on taking them to go see this. I took my kids to go see this film because it's a Star Trek film, and it's not the action film that the first two kind of were. They got a little bored, and they kind of lost interest into it until we actually got to the action portion of it. So maybe think about that if you're going to take your young kids to go see it who may not be Star Trek fans as of yet. But that's all I gotta say. It's a good movie. Go out and see it. And that's what will do it for this movie review. So make sure you guys comment and tell me if you like these reviews, what I'm doing good, what I'm not doing good. But tell me what you guys thought about this film. If you're a Star Trek fan, if this was your favorite one, because I heard some people say that were diehard Star Trek fans that this is their most favorite of this trilogy. Tell me below, and we'll discuss it. But that's all I got for this week, guys. Take care.